All right. So last week we talked a little bit about what's going to be on our channel. We're going to talk about a little bit of gear, and not so much what's new on the market per se, more what I shoot, what I use, and kind of why I use it. Garrett Weaver, if you guys ever watch On Point on YouTube, On Point with Garrett Weaver is a good place to go check out new gear, new tech. Today, rather than talking about what's new, I'm going to talk a little bit about bows, just bows in general, and should you get a new bow? Is it necessary to get a new bow? What are some of the pros and cons of having a new bow or spending the money on a new bow, and like, will an old bow still do it? So to help answer these questions, we have on our show today Mr. Luke Evans from Mountain Minded. We'll see if we can make that work.
Yeah, it might.
Nice to have you here, Luke.
Thanks.
Yes.
It's good to be here. Good to be here.
He came over after work to my studio. We're gonna call this a studio, right?
It looks pretty official behind us.
That's good. As long as you have one narrow slot that looks right, nobody knows the difference. So Luke's been shooting a bow, the same bow actually, since 2010. It's a Bowtech, right?
Mm-hmm. Admiral.
Bowtech Admiral.
FLX.
FLX?
Yep.
Well, we've had the opportunity to go shoot a handful of bow shoots over the last few years. He has taken it on many hunts and done just a lot of bow hunting with it since 2010. But I bought a bow right around the same year as you, and since then I've upgraded, I guess just one time, to the current bow I have now. But interestingly enough, at these bow shoots, I mean, shooting targets, at normal distances ranges from, 1 yard to, I don't know how far, 100 yards. Even though he's got a bow that I think Moses made, he's still hitting these targets, and he's beating a lot of guys with brand new bows. So, thoughts on that, Mr. Evans?
I mean, it's definitely going to be easier, I should say. Maybe not.
In what way?
Well, I mean, like, newer bows are obviously going to be quicker, more forgiving, less vibration.
Here's something interesting. Think about a cell phone today. What you can do with your cell phone.
Yeah.
Think about the advancements in cell phone technology. Think about a cell phone 10 years ago. You remember those?
Yeah. I don't think I had a smartphone.
I did not have a smartphone 10 years.
No.
They may have been out and around, but I didn't have one.
Yeah.
The difference between a cell phone then and a cell phone today is incredible. I would say a giant leap in the industry. I mean, it went from being able to talk and text, which I didn't do a whole lot of texting back then, I just basically used it as a phone, to now basically it rules most people's lives. As far as bows go, there have been advancements. Things have changed. And I'm talking 10 years. I'm not talking 20 years, because there was some giant leaps. 20 years ago, bows were completely different than they are now. But 10 years ago, so 2010, the differences that have come up are not Nokia block phone to current iPhone 11.
No.
Like, it's not this giant leap. There are advancements. Bows are much quicker now. Not much quicker. That Bowtech Destroyer, actually, Dave, my good friend Dave, still has that bow and still shoots that bow. I ran it across a chronograph yesterday with his hunting setup, and he's running a 433 grain arrow, so not super heavy, not super light, kind of in the middle, kind of maybe towards the lighter end. He's running 293 feet per second with his hunting setup out of that bow. I would wager to say, depending on your draw length and which bow you have, that's pretty competitive for today's bow.
And what year are those? Like,
that's the 2010. A lot of things that are interesting to me about bows, and they throw the word around technology a lot. They say, power shift technology for, I think it's Bowtech.
Advanced.
Yeah, they have all these different words and stuff, and I'm not at all against a bow company making bows. I think that's awesome. I think they need to make new bows. I like that they're innovative. I like that they're changing things. At a certain point, I feel a little bit like there's only so much you can do to reinvent the wheel. I mean, there's not that much you can really do. I wouldn't think, but I guess people thought this about cell phones too. But I wouldn't think there's that much you can do to really, I mean, it's not going to shoot the animal for you. I mean, you're still going to be involved. It's still going to be you behind the bow, making the decisions. And that's kind of where, as far as the hunting aspect of it, or the practical application for me, since I'm not a target archer, I mean, it's fun, but I'm a hunter primarily.
Yeah.
The practical application of the bow is, will it do its job? And a bow from 2010
Yeah.
still does its
Even
job.
From 2000, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, it worked then. You throw a new string on it, as long as it's not going to blow up in your face, it's still going to work. Which, could happen.
And not all bows are created equal, especially back then. Some companies had some rocky starts, went through some rough patches. We've been talking about Bowtech this whole time. I mean, there's lots of bow companies out there, and lots of them have had issues over the years, but they've also made a lot of good bows.
It's just like trucks. There's these years the trucks are bad, but then the same company, the years before that, the trucks are indestructible. So there's years of bad bows for all the companies. You could Google that, but you're just gonna find a bunch of people arguing.
There's a lot of bias out there surrounding bow brands as a whole, which if you jump on the bow brand bandwagon,
That's a lot of views.
try that. If you jump on that bandwagon, you're going to end up with an extreme bias that's not necessarily deserved. Like I said, every bow company's gone through some rough patches. Everybody thought they had a good idea that didn't work out. That's innovation. That's moving the industry forward. Sometimes, it fails. What would be the benefit to buying a bow nowadays? Because there are definitely benefits. There's a lot of benefits to getting a new bow. But let's talk about a little bit of the drawbacks first. I would say buying a bow from 2010, you're not going to break the bank.
Not at all.
It could be tricky to find one that's not kind of beat up maybe, or find one that's in good repair. Let's see what, you have a Bowtech Admiral, right?
Yeah. I checked, I think last I looked was probably about 6 or 8 months ago.
So here's a Bowtech Admiral with the octane quiver. So that's 390 OBO. What else do we have on here? There's not a whole lot of it on there. Let's see if we can find a Destroyer 350.
Is this eBay or are you just Googling?
This is eBay, yeah. Okay, shoot. So here's a Bowtech Destroyer 350 right-handed. Let's see what it comes with. Looks like it comes with a quiver, comes set up with arrows, it's got a stabilizer, it's got a sight. Starting bid is $320. A brand new Matthews right now, I think you're dancing in between $1,000 and like $1,200 for their flagship bow, whatever that is. I think right now it's the HTX or VHS, I don't know, something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're and that's for a Matthews. If you slide into Hoyt's bracket, Hoyts are awesome bows, Matthews are awesome bows, love them both. They all do their job well. But if you start sliding over into the carbon Hoyts, I mean, you're looking $1,600.
Really?
Yeah, for a bow, where
And that's bare bow.
And that's a bare bow.
You still got to spend another, depending on who you are and what kind of stuff you want. But if you're going to spend $1,600, you might as well spend another $800 on all your accessories.
Yeah, so a lot of people, I mean, if you're running around with a brand new Hoyt and, the most current accessories on your bow, you could be dancing around that $2,500 mark, by the time it's done. And, I'm not going to fault you for it because there's a lot of benefits to getting a new bow. The new carbon Hoyts are light, they're fast, they look really cool. And like, hey, cosmetics, you got to give it to them. That's the factor. When you're buying something, you don't go buy a car just because it runs good.
Yeah, or just because it'll get you to where you want to go.
Right, exactly. So there's got to be a little bit of middle ground. I mean, you got to give a little bit too. I'm not going to say I haven't bought a bow with at least a little bit of the equation leaning towards how cool it looked. There's also that price tag hanging on it. So you kind of have to weigh out where you're at financially versus what you're actually going to get for it. See, I shoot a Matthews Halon right now. I went from a 2010 bow to that Matthews Halon, and there were some benefits. Some of the things that I noticed were it is a little bit smoother to draw. It is much quieter. It's balanced a little bit better. And those are benefits. But when you break them down, what does hand shock do for in a standard hunter, not an Olympic target archer, and a guy who can shoot a soda can at 40 yards every time with his bow? What's hand shock actually mean to that guy? What's that translate to value-wise?
Well, I would say all those little comforts, like, yeah, you can put them in the comfort department, but they are going to help anybody shoot better.
When you get a newer bow, oftentimes you are increasing in speed, an increase in smoothness. A lot of times they're lighter. Cosmetically, whatever the new style is nowadays, you're going to be, much more current in that aspect. And the other thing that we haven't really touched on yet is reliability. When you have an older bow, even though it hasn't broken yet, it's just like a car. You put a lot of miles on a car, it's held up great. It's gonna hold up for maybe 100,000 more miles, maybe 6 more miles. So that's one thing also to take into consideration when you're gonna go buy a new bow. Shooting the bow that's right for you. If it's a brand new bow, go get that brand new bow. If it's the bow you have, don't feel pressured to go get a new bow because you think that's gonna be what helps you kill that elk. It may help in some ways as far as accuracy, or it may be lighter or whatever, but it's not going to be the determining factor on whether or not you make the right call. You know, you still have to be a hunter. It's going to do its job, but you still have to do your job. And its job is actually a pretty simple one. It's got to get that arrow from your bow to where it needs to go, and bows have been doing that for a long, long time. So if you're going to get a bow for the first time, if you don't have a bow right now, you're not upgrading, you're not into bow hunting yet, and you're gonna get a bow for the first time, there's a million bows on the market. You can buy a $1,600 blank, you can buy a $500 ready to kill package that's brand new, or you can hop on eBay or go down to a bow shop like the Bow Rack, who has used bows in there all the time, and get a bow from them. What would be the easiest, most cost-effective way to get into bow hunting? What would you do? Would you go buy a new one, or?
Well, like buddies I've had in the past that have been like, hey, I think I'm gonna get a bow. I've definitely said, like, pump the brakes on a new one. You can get last year's bow. You know, say you see one in a bow shop on eBay or whatever. You know, don't just say, oh, I think that's a good deal. You know, do your research.
Yeah, I'd lean more towards what's in your price range. If it's your first time, I'd lean more towards that, you know, either used bow or that ready to kill package or something like that. Unless you have the money and you have it to spend, then you can buy whatever you want. But if you're just getting into it, there's nothing wrong with a lot of these ready to kill packages and things like that. But just shoot the one that's right for you. Hey guys, thanks for watching this week. We're gonna close it out by reading a couple comments from the last video that we put out. Southern Oregon Outdoors says, dude, I'm stoked for this next year, training hard and shooting at least 4 days a week. I hope to make the cut again for the bow shoot. It was probably one of the most fun I've been on. Yeah, Dan, you are absolutely invited. I'll make sure to get a hold of you. Dave02002. New to the channel, love the videos, headed to Alaska in August to do a Dall sheep hunt. Wanna go? That sounds amazing, but I can't go, even though I want to go. Thank you for the offer, though. I really appreciate it. Man, that would be epic, and good luck to you. All right, let's do one more. 5 Square says, would be nice to see you do a cooking video or videos with some of your favorite game recipes. I personally am a terrible cook, probably one of the worst. But you know what? I know people who are awesome, and yeah, actually, if that's something you guys are interested in, we'll find people who know what they're doing. I know a lot of people, so. What do you guys shoot? What's your go-to as far as bow? Are you looking for that new technology coming out? Do you like to lean on your old trusty bow? Are you planning on it lasting forever, just keeping it tuned, or are you waiting to see what they come out with next year? Let me know what you think in the comments. What do you shoot right now, and what are you planning on shooting next year? If you're gonna give somebody advice about getting a new bow, what's your opinion on that? So anyway, leave a comment down in the comment section. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you like these videos, we're gonna be putting out more of this kind of content also, but we're also gonna be putting out our normal vlogs with B-roll and music and slow-mo and all that stuff. But we're gonna actually invite more people to come and just talk. Let's talk about the industry, talk about what kind of things are going on, and just get some viewpoints. So anyway, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Peace. Yeah. Gone. Cool.
Yeah.